Thanksgiving break is coming up, Falcons, and I thought it would be fun for us to embark on a Native American project. And that is why we just heard the story, The Legend of the Indian Paintbrush, which really inspired me when in the story they would take the hide of the animals and use that to paint pictures or symbols on there that represented words to tell stories. So today we are going to be picture writing using our picture writing guide. This was available in the materials needed link, and if you didn't pick it up at Forestall, it is there for your viewing. You can print it out or view it right on your screen, and we can see that different symbols mean different words. Looking at this, there are enough words here for us to piece together some very interesting stories, like something happening in a village, or maybe something to do with two brothers or two sisters. We are also going to need a piece of kind of looks like butcher block paper. You could have picked this up at Forestall when you picked this up, but if you didn't, you can easily take a paper lunch bag or grocery bag and just cut it until you get a piece of paper that looks a little like this. We're going to be using these symbols, to create stories, and it'll look at the end, we're going to do a cool crumbling to create an effect that makes it look like it is possibly the old hide or skin of the animals. And in Native American times, they really used all of the animal and respected it and used the skin to create shoes, leather, and tents and art. And I have an example to share with you that I used my symbols, and I wrote an entire story. I actually wrote the story down, and I'm going to read it to you, and you can look at my symbols that I used while creating the story. I said that there was a flood in the village, so the brothers went to the mountains. At night, it snowed, so the brothers, were cold, and they went to a tribe in the plains. The brothers talked to the leader to make peace and friendship. See how I make the peace and the friendship. In the morning, they hunted beaver and rabbit. Everyone in the village tribe built a fire and had a feast. The brothers, where am I? I lost my place. Oh my goodness. Two women came to the feast with corn. The brothers danced with the two girls. The brothers loved the two women. It rained, so they went in the teepee and talked on a blanket to keep warm. The next day, what did the brothers do the next day? Went to war with the tribe about the two women. The brothers went to the desert. The women went to the desert. The brothers married the two sisters, and lived in 2 teepees in the desert. I created this story using symbols. The symbols represented the words. So I want you to get ready, and we are going to create our own story. I have my sheet and paper ready to go. I'm going to start using a pencil. In case I make any errors, then I can erase my mistakes. Later, I will go over my symbols, my pictures with a brown marker to give it that old-fashioned look that we are going for. We want it to look like it was written on the hide of an animal, maybe a buffalo or a deer. So I am going to start my story, and again, I'm going to start my story here because we always write left to right. So I am going to talk about a hunt. So there was a hunt. I'm going to find that symbol for hunt, and I'm going to draw it on my paper. So there was a hunt, I'll say, and the hunt took place, I'm going to say it to happen in the hills. There was a hunt in the hills. Now I'm going to look back here. Maybe there's some words that I'd want to use. They were hunting. Let's say they were hunting rabbit. Rabbit and beaver. We're putting the campfire. So you get the idea that I'm going to create a story using my symbols. The hunt in the hills for rabbit and beaver. So they created a fire for a feast. I'm going to then go over it using my dark marker. You can use a brown or a black, or red would probably look really cool to do this with on this butcher block paper. You can get the idea of where I'm headed, because eventually I can come up with a really great long story. You decide how long you want your story to be, but try to have some main characters and some actions that they're going to do. After you've completed your whole story, guess what you're going to do? You're going to crumble it up and flatten it out. Then you're going to crumble it up again and flatten it out. And then maybe crumble it up even again. It's going to get really soft, so you have to be very careful that you're not ripping it. We just want to crumble it into a wad or a ball. And then we're going to open it up, and it's going to have that real soft, textured feeling, and it's almost from a distance going to look like a worn piece of leather that your story is written on. If you want to, you can even tear it, it's up to you, to make it look a little more like it was just built on a scrap of leather, excuse me. So you can have your story written like this. I have a couple that I've done where I really wrote it on just a strip. You get to decide how you want it to be presented. But when you have finished, I do want you to ask yourself those all-important questions that we always want to know. We want to know, did we follow directions? Did I use the picture writing guide? Or you can even create your own symbols for that matter. Did I use the symbols, things that represent something else, and in this case the pictures represent words, to create and be able to tell a story? How is my craftsmanship? Did I work neatly? And was it creative? Did I come up with an original story? If you can say yes, of course, like any great artist, you will sign your name and click on that microphone link so that I can see your fantastic Native American picture writing stories. I look forward to reading these. Have a great Thanksgiving, guys.